Hello, farmers, and welcome to another episode of the harvest season. My name is Al.
I'm Kevin.
And we're here today to talk about Harvest Moon.
Yeah, living up to the name.
All the
Our
Harvest
name, the
Moon.
Harvest. Yeah.
This is our Harvest Moon Bonanza episode.
Yeah, we're going to the old, the new, the good, the bad, all of it.
Yeah. And we'll not tell you which is which yet. So before we get into that, obviously transcripts are, as always, available in the show notes and on the website. So they're there if you need them. Yeah, we've got a bunch of news to talk about. And then we're going to do a dive into a bunch of information that's come up on Harvest Moon Winds of Anthos over the last week. Coincidentally, this was coincidental. On the week that we decided that we were going to play the original Harvest Moon, now that it's out on Nintendo Switch Online. So we're going to talk about that at the end as well.
Yeah, that's really an interesting timing there, how it all lined up.
It's amazing. I love it. I wish more episodes worked like this. But before all of that, Kevin, what have you been up to?
Oh, good question. So, doing early plug. I didn't talk about it last week, but the episode's already out. Things have been busy over at the other show. I'm now working with our dear friend Alex on Rainbow Road Radio. I've been playing, well, not this as much this week, but I've been playing a good bit of Super Mario Sunshine because we covered that. There's a big meaty episode for you guys to listen if you want to hear my in-depth thoughts. But my general consensus, I still like the game. I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Yeah. Do I get to have feedback on your episode here? That sounds
sure.
Fun.
Yes.
I thought it was great. I will say I didn't like the fact that there was a question over whether it was better or worse than Mario 64. Mario 64 is terrible. Like Nintendo Mario Sunshine definitely has its issues, right? You can tell it's what was it, 20-year-old game? You can tell it's a 20-year-old game, which, by the way, it's insane that something that looks like that is 20 years old, but that's just time. It just keeps moving.
Right? It's also... It works both ways here. GameCube's in a weird era because not only does the stuff hold up fairly well 20 years later, but if you look what was out like 5 years before, it's insane, right? Because
this is the thing.
64 is not that far before Sunshine. It's crazy.
This is the thing, right? If you look at screenshots of Mario 64 next to Mario Sunshine, they look a decade apart. Right? They look like Mario. You can literally see the polygons on him in Mario 64, and in Mario Sunshine, it's smooth, right? Like if it's the sort of thing that was released just now, people were like, "Oh, it's a little bit outdated graphics," right? But they wouldn't be like, "Oh, it's horrific," right? Like it's pretty good still.
An indie developer in this day and age would release it, nobody would bat an eye, right? Like it's yeah. It's not that far behind. It's insane.
Yeah, definitely. The biggest thing, I think, as you discussed on the episode, is the camera. Real issue.
It's the camera.
Thankfully, the Mario team have figured that out, and the newer games have much better cameras.
Yeah, they are. It'd be nice to see that game get a proper remake, not just this weird half port that they do for the collection or whatever.
I think I'd be fine with. I mean, I get why you would want that, but I think it would also be fun if they just had the flood in a newer game, or because that was what makes it different, right?
Well, absolutely.
And I know the whole like, oh yeah, well, Bowser's Fury is like the spiritual successor to Sunshine, and I get why people are saying that, but it's not the same.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think it was like getting more in depth. There was stuff in the code that implied that I think it was very much more not just going to be spiritual, right? It was going to be they were working on a Sunshine sequel to some degree, but there's no flood.
And that's the thing that makes Sunshine. Like, it built on the same code base, similar in lots of ways, but without the flood, it's not it's not the same.
Yeah, you're super right. Right. I said like a remake because I don't think I will ever see Flood come back in a game in my lifetime, but or new game, let's say. So that's why I'm thinking of the remake. But of course, that would be my preference. I would give for a new Flood.
That'd be good fun.
Yeah, and go again, little tidbit from that episode, but there were like 7. They had originally had like 10 different nozzles for Flood.
Yeah,
I want to know. Oh god. Okay, I'd love to see a sequel with more stuff.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, but regardless, Sunshine, that was a good meaty episode. Go listener. Thank you for listening, Al. And actually, I highly recommend the episode that we'll be releasing. Well, actually, it'll probably be out by the time listeners are listening to this. Because Mario Wonder, we got our direct, and so we got the content for you guys. We go in depth into our thoughts on Wonder.
This was a good time to start a Mario.
I know. I'm so. It's so good. It was great timing. Much like this episode. But anyways, aside from the Mario life, nothing too crazy. I've been Tears of the Kingdoming. Guess what? Still good.
Shock.
Yeah. Dons are cool. I met them. I saved the pirates I killed the pirates and saved Lurley, another way around. Other than that, nothing too exciting. Unite, the Snap. Oh, the Mewtwo raids. I guess we can talk about that for Scarlet Violet.
Yeah.
It's fine, I guess. It happened. I did it. I beat it. I mean, there's a whole spiel here I could go into, but there's just something about optimizing an event like this, a strategy so well that like it kills the fun for me a little bit.
Yeah, I get that. I guess the problem is like that, I think, is people's problem rather than like, I don't think you can do, unless you just go like, well, the raid can do these 10 different things and therefore you can't plan for it. Unless you do that, I don't think there's really a way to not have that happen, because you have thousands of players who are like, I need to min-max this. I need to figure out how to solve this. And I mean, I find it quite fun to see the crazy strategies. And you're like, oh, why on earth is everybody setting up electric terrain? Oh, it's because apparently electric terrain means you can't sleep. Oh, that's fun. That's an interesting one. I did not realize that was a thing. Like, that's the kind of parts of the game that I've never really been bothered to be interested in because I'm not a competitive player.
Yeah.
So
and like, okay, to get, I guess for people who don't play Pokemon or don't know, like, there's an event where you team up with 3 other players and you can fight a big Mewtwo. Well, not actually big, but it's a very strong Mewtwo, right? And if you happen to have if you happen to have a Mew on you, which they gave out in distribution, or you happen to have one transferred in for whatever, you get a boost to your Mew. So, because there's that rivalry in Pokemon Mew versus Mewtwo or whatever, and that's fun and all, right? And so there's these obviously very efficient strategies to beating the event, but the real kicker is Mew has the ultimate, or like the poster child for adaptability. Can learn every move, do everything, whatever it wants to, right? So I would have preferred a weaker Mewtwo where you didn't have to maximize your strategy to, because it is a difficult challenge if you're not if you don't know what you're doing, right? But if it were so weak that, or if it were doable without having to do that, right? Where everyone could just run different things, or you could plan maybe something with your teammates where everyone didn't have to be the same. I think I'd enjoy that more. But that is, that's just wishful thinking. C'est la vie. It's min-maxing video games. It's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But that's what I've been up to. What about you, Al? What's going on?
Yeah, well, obviously I was doing the Pokemon raids as well. I quite enjoyed I think it took me about 4 turns, and I finally got a team together that was actually knew what they were doing. And
nice.
We still had to do I think the fun thing about this one is like, you have a strategy, but you still have to do it, and you have to do it well. So it's like, it takes the whole, was it 5 minutes? Is that how long one is? It takes almost the entire 5 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
even if you're doing everything perfectly. And just seeing like 4 random people connecting online, not knowing each other, and noticing what the others are doing, and just adapting to that, and just going. That was really fun, right? Because especially in the one that I won, like all 4 of us set up light screen turn 1, and I was like, "Oh no, it's just a group full of support Pokemon. We're gonna lose." But then it turns out that the other 2 of the people had Leech Life, which is the big hitter that you need to take it down. And they just started getting to the strategy that would lead them to do the swords dancing and leech life and blah blah blah. And I had the right moves for both to be support or be technical, and the other and so we kind of me and the other one kind of just tag teamed, and it worked really well, which was good fun.
See, I'll say that to like that sounds pretty fun. I did mine with a team off the bat of people I was talking to. Like I didn't do it with random, so we got it one and done pretty much. We had it off the bat. But I will say that it is fun, at least even because with 4 people, like you said, there's different roles and different movesets you can carry. So there's a little variability. And yes, as Mew, you could probably pack a different move to kind of pivot if you need to in the middle of a battle, which I did as well at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is kind of fun.
So yeah, I did that. I've obviously been playing some original Harvest Moon for the SNES on the Nintendo Switch Online.
Of course. This is my first time playing with these virtual consoles, whatever you want to call them.
You've not played any of them before?
No, I've never.
You've broken the dam. You're going to be all in on all of them.
You kind of, yeah. Now that I saw it's not too bad, I'll probably pick up some of the other ones. Finally, try that Pokemon trading card game for the Game Boy.
Oh, that's so good. I think that has aged really well as well. Like, obviously, the graphics are very clearly Game Boy, but that's a style people still do because they like it so much. And it's just obviously it's quite a limited selection of Pokemon and cards, but the gameplay is solid. Like the game works really well. Like I've gone back to that game multiple times over the years,
which is wild to think about because card games can be kind of hard to do on or easy to mess up. Let's say on a video game.
Yeah,
and so I am very curious just to see that because I hear nothing but good things about it, so that's wild. Yeah.
I really want them to bring the sequel, translate the sequel and bring it out because that was Japan only originally.
Yeah.
So I've never played that because I know there's fan translations and stuff, but it's not. It's not this.
Yeah, of course.
So, and I fell back into Marvel Snap. Oops. So I think last week when we were talking, you were talking about Marvel Snap, and I was like, I've not played it for ages. And then I think you'd mentioned the daily bonuses that we were getting at that point.
Yeah.
So I jumped in and got them, and oops, within the last week, I did the entire season
gotcha
in a week. So yeah, that was crazy. Although this is where my complaint about this game comes in.
Yeah,
apparently they don't give you enough experience in the season pass missions to get to level 50 in the season pass, which is very annoying. If you've been playing the whole month and doing daily missions most days and that sort of stuff, then you can easily get enough for free, but not if you do it all at the end, which is really annoying. It's like I feel like they should be able, if you do every single season pass mission, I feel like you should be able to get to 50, right? It's not like, because they've clearly built it up around that, right? Because it's enough to get you to 45, right? It's not like it only gets you to 20 and you have to do so much more work to get it.
It takes you to 45? I didn't know that.
45.
Oh, that's cold. That's just
super
right.
Annoying.
Oh, that's rough.
So I'm trying to decide in the next day, because I think we've got 1 day left of it. It's like literally a day and a couple of hours or something. Trying to decide if I'm buying the season pass, because I can't just buy the 10 quid season pass. I can't do that. Yeah. So I'd need to buy the 15 quid one, which gives you the extra 10 levels and would take me up to 50. It's just so annoying.
Well, it sounds like it worked exactly as they planned on you. They got you.
They got me in with those dailies, and then it was just enough time to get through all the missions and then be annoyed and have to pay more money. Is genius.
At the very least, this season pass is okay. It's at least for me personally. Like I'm not. I wouldn't be weeping if I didn't get it. Next one seems much cooler, but regardless, that's just a preference thing.
Yeah, maybe I'll just. I mean, the thing is, right? It's a good value, the season pass, anyway.
It is a great value.
Like,
it
you
is.
get so much gold, and you get loads of variants,
all your good stuff. Mm-hmm.
And so it's like it is the best value thing to buy in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I've spent a week unlocking basically everything, and it's like I can pay 15 quid and get all these 55 levels. But anyway, whatever. I'll decide tomorrow how long I've got. One day.
Game's good right
hours.
now.
1 day and 8 hours. So I need to. I just basically need to decide by the end of tomorrow because it flips over while.
Did you play it on PC or just on your phone?
I've done a bit both. So I've not played it on PC because I use a Mac most of the time. But on the Mac you can use the iPad app.
Okay.
So I've been doing it on my phone and using the iPad app on my computer. And it's good fun. I do kind of want to. I mean, I'm currently on a Windows machine, like talking to you, but this is recording the podcast is the only thing I use it for. So I might install it after this and see how it looks because I know it's like widescreen, isn't it? Which might be fun to play on.
It's weird because, like, obviously, Marvel Snap is a very mobile game designed for mobile to fit that phone, right? And so it is widescreen, but like the field of play isn't that much wider. It still feels very much like they just uncropped the background.
Fair enough.
The animations and all that stuff, it is buttery smooth. It is pleasing to look at. So it's still worth checking out.
Oh, here's an important question. It's on Steam. That's how you get it, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean you can play it on Steam Deck?
I want to say yes.
So the only thing on the compatibility is that it doesn't use it uses the on-screen keyboard for some things, which is means it's not technically fully compatible, but it does mean it's completely usable.
Yeah, probably.
Like how often? I mean, the only text I think you input is names of decks, right? When else would you entering text?
I guess so. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder how it would play on the Steam Deck.
Well, maybe you should let us know next week.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should. So that's what we've been playing. Let's talk about some news. So first of all, we have 3 games announcing their release dates over the next month. 3 games.
That's why.
So
it's not like there's anything else in September you need to worry about.
First up, we have Sprout Valley, which is coming out on the 8th of September. So that's just in a few days. In 2 days after this episode comes out. That's Sprout Valley.
Okay, before you even describe the game, naming that's a dangerous game, and they know what they're doing.
Oh, they absolutely know.
Why would... Ooh, that's bold. That takes some chutzpah to do an SV with a valley.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that. Stardew Valley was originally called Sprout Valley before it
was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know whether they knew that or not, but that is a thing. Yeah. So that's 8th of September. That one's coming out, and then Moonstone Island are coming out on the 20th of September.
Actually, can I back up to Sprout Valley because we're listing them, but I just want to comment. Like, for people who look at the video, it looks like a Tamagotchi farming game.
Yeah, I guess the sprites are kind of Tamagotchi-esque. Yeah, I can see.
Which it is cute, right? Like I will say that it looks very cute. Anyways, Moonstone Island. That's a thing.
Yeah, Moonstone Island, 20th of September. Do I want to complain about the summer thing? I don't know.
Yes, September's not summer.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, it's technically, we said we're going to release in the summer, and it's technically still summer on the 20th of September. And I'm like,
gosh,
if you're going to go into technically, right? If you're going to go, oh, it's technically, then I'm going to technically right back at you, right? Summer doesn't have a universally defined, and no, I'm not talking about Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere. If we just talk about the Northern Hemisphere, there is no universally defined definition of summer, right? There is
actually the equinox is on September 21st, whatever date it is. I don't know.
So it's like this is the thing, right? Like, it's people are like, oh, well, it's still technically summer. It's like, depends on your definition of summer, right? There's the astronomical definition of summer, which does end on the 23rd of September this year, right? So sure, that it would be under that definition of summer. But there's also the meteorological season, which has already ended. The 31st of August was the last day of summer in that season. And then that's not to mention there's the lesser used Celtic season, also sometimes named the solar season, which defining the seasons by the sun is a crazy idea, right? Which does May through July. So if you're going to start saying, "Oh, it's technically summer," I'm gonna say, well, technically it depends on your definition. So,
regardless of when it's not releasing in summer. I don't care what they say. For people who don't remember, this is monster collecting card, farming. There's a lot of things going on.
So it's a monster collection farming game on like floating islands in the sky.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot. I mean, to me, it does look like it could be a lot of fun. But I'd need to play it to see. And I can't remember whether this one is one of the ones I kickstarted or not.
I don't. Yeah. When you do so many things like this, sometimes it's hard to stand out because it has all the buzzwords or whatever.
Totally true.
But that said, looking at the trailer, there is, oh my gosh, they even have romancing, don't they? Yep. You want to go on a date? There it is. Oh, goodness.
On the Sky Islands. You got to go on dates on the Sky Islands.
See, what they should have done was just focused on their little monster designs, which are quite fun. There's a very tall, like, tree log guy. There's a cool robot golem you fight. They put a lot of care into the game. I'll say that, right? Whether I don't know if all their directions they wanted to go to and was the best call. They are putting effort into it. So also I do like I like the card battle menu where you pick a card to do it and attack it, even if it's just flavor. I like it. It's a nice looking thing. But yeah, you can look at the trailer yourself and decide if you want to pick it up on September 20th.
But yeah, it does feel a lot like it's we're wanting this game to be 5 different games in one, and that can work, and sometimes it doesn't work. So we'll see whether this one works or not.
Mm-hmm.
This one I didn't kickstart it. I don't know whether it was a Kickstarter or not, but I didn't kickstart it. I did kickstart Sprite Valley, so I've got that coming. Nice. Free game. And the third game that's announced its release date is A Tiny Sticker Tale. This is the one. It's not really a cottagecore game, but it is by the developers of Lonesome Village, so that's why I'm mentioning it.
I mean, it has the vibes.
Yeah. I think that would be what some people would call a cozy game, not necessarily a cottagecore game. If we want to get into these definitions, we don't want to get into these definitions. If we wanted to, that's what I would say.
Okay, so, but yeah, this is from Lonesome Village. We covered that game a while back, Johnny and I. They're the Mexican developer, so of course I'm gonna probably get this game regardless and support them. I will say, I don't know what the Lonesome Numbers Village were, but this looks like they got a little more love. Maybe they had a little bit more money for some production value.
Yeah.
So, for people who may not remember, Lonesome Village was essentially a puzzle collection of games. They're very good, a pretty good one. All sorts of different types of puzzles and whatnot. This one, you're going through an adventure sort of thing, and as the name implies, Tiny Sticker Tale. You're using stickers to actually put stuff. Like you put a sticker of a bridge to make a bridge. It's actually a clever, cute idea.
Yeah, and it's on this. It's really small levels where you're basically getting from one side to the other using stickers as a kind of again puzzly, right? They clearly love their puzzle games, which is totally fun. And what I really like about what they've done is it's the same art style, and
absolutely
I don't know if any of the characters are exactly the same, but like it's clearly leaning into its strongest thing, which is the art style. It's super cute. And I like when they can do that and it works well, because then you've got a love consistency across multiple games, which is good fun.
And also their art style works really well for stickers, actually. So,
yes, yeah,
it goes great
because it's like they're all kind of like 2D sprites on the world.
They're big, bold
like cartoony,
shapes, round, cartoony.
ones.
Yep,
Yeah, good fun.
So it works great. And it looks like you can just spitball it. I haven't read anything. I'm just off this one trailer. It looks like you can even decorate a little house or something with your stickers, and that's nice.
Yeah.
Which is good. I don't think we see enough stickers in video games, like or gameplay wise, like actually doing something with them.
Yeah.
The last one I can think of was that Paper Mario game, and that one did not work well with stickers.
Yeah, it's quite clever what they've done here, right? Because they've made the whole gameplay about stickers.
Yeah.
Of course, you can then use that as a collection-based thing as well.
Yep.
And it's still, it's not
good.
one of these things where your collectible is, as I've said multiple times before, where your collectible is just the same identical thing 100 times.
Yep.
You're getting different ones, so the collection becomes its own fun thing rather than just a thing to complete.
Yep. Actually, I should. That reminds me of a very personal experience. So I buy card games and whatnot, right? And I buy like I mostly do it for playing the games, but every now and then I'll buy something. Like I enjoy collecting. I don't go after sets, but people do that, right? But the only kicker is, well, the best thing you can do is like put it in a binder or whatever, right? Like it's a little hard to display or whatever. But anyways, the point I'm trying to say is, back when I was younger, though, in Mexico, I lived in Mexico for a little while, appropriate for this discussion. They would, one of the things that was hot for the kids or whatever, you could buy similar to cards, but they were stickers. And there were like different things, and you could buy sticker books, and you could like place your stickers in the books and stuff like that. Like I had a Dragon Ball sticker book that I fondly remember. So yeah, good stuff. This leans into that. Stickers are fun.
Yeah, good fun.
October 4th. That's 4th. Is that the right date?
Yes,
Tiny little sticker.
That is correct.
Tiny Sticker Tale. That's the one. October 4th on Steam and Switch again, doing that dual release like they did for Lonesome Village. Very good for them. Cool.
Yep. Cool. So that's the 3 new releases over the next month. And just a very, very fast rundown of September. We have Rune Factory 3 Special is out now. It came out yesterday when this episode comes out. Fae Farm and Sprout Valley, both on the 8th of September. Moonstone Island on the 20th of September. Mineko's Night Market, Harvest Moon, The Winds of Anthos, and Paleo Pines all on the 26th of September. And Wild Mender on the 28th of September. Whew. Boy.
I don't. Obviously, the cottagecore space isn't. How should I put this? Right, it's maybe not as well defined or cutthroat as other spaces, right? Because
sure, but I mean, I none of those. I've not taken any. Like, I know that sometimes I'm like, oh, it's not really like Sticker Tail, whatever. But like that list, they're all farming games.
No, I
right?
know.
Like there is no
all I want
artistic
to say
license taken with them.
The 3 big games on the one day on the 26th, 23rd, whatever you said. That's somebody gloves were thrown down. The gauntlet was thrown. They Paleo Pines looked at Mineko and called them out. But at the end of the day, Mineko's Night Market is all that matters. So
Yeah, it's funny because I noticed today that apparently Winds of Anthos, I hadn't noticed, doesn't come out on the same day in Europe. It's coming out like a week and a half later, and I was like, oh no, that's really annoying. But then I realized I'll just be playing Mineko's Night Market for that week anyway. And we're doing the Mineko's Night Market episode first. Because Micah's busy, so it all works out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All good. I am totally fine with that. But we'll talk about Winds of Anthos later. Right, more news. We got Disney Dreamlight Valley have announced their cozy edition. I like the implication that the other versions of this game are not cozy.
I will say some of those. That game gets if you think about it, it gets dark. It's like
it does.
It's rough.
It does. So does the cozy edition? It doesn't come with any of the dark stuff. It's just cozy. No,
everyone's
so it's
not dead from the evil vines.
This is a little bit funny, right? Because it's a physical case you're getting, but with a download code.
Oh, don't you love it when they do that?
But you also get a
Wait,
sticker set, a sticker sheet.
Do you know about Fallout 76?
I mean, about the game or
Yeah,
like
but
a specific thing?
the physical edition of Fallout 76.
No. Was that the same
Okay,
thing? Was
it
that
was
just
a
a code
similar
in the
thing,
box?
but the download code, they actually put a paper disc in the CD slot to say
Oh,
you
what?
download it.
What?
That's just salt in the wound. That was uncalled for.
By the way, Nintendo, make your Switch 2 cases, make them smaller, please. They're still too big, right? Why did they get tall? Right? The cartridge is smaller than the 3DS one, but the case got really tall.
That is real.
What's that about? It got thinner,
don't-
but taller. It's like they're like, we need to use the same amount of plastic.
I don't get it. Like you know what? That is. I want to know the thought process to get there because
I suspect it was to make it the same height as the Xbox and PS5 ones, because it is now the same height as them, I think.
is it?
I think so. I need to double check. Have I got one? I've got PS3.
Well,
Is PS4 and 5, are they the same size as PS3 or are they taller?
I'm pretty sure PS4 was taller than PS3.
Right, okay. I just the only thing apparently I have in this room
but
is PS3. I have a PS5 games, but they're in another room.
But it's still weird, right? Because at any retailer, no matter what,
They're not next to each other.
from your
Yeah.
your big box to dedicated to mom and pop used store, whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone categorizes by the system. So
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
The Switch
exactly.
games are right there. There's.
I'm not saying it's a sensible reason. I'm just saying I suspect that was the reason.
No, I
think it's silly.
Yeah.
Make it half height. Just go with it.
They don't even give us manuals or anything in there. It's literally just the card.
I know.
Okay.
Anyway. So you're getting a physical case with the download code in it. It's not just Switch. It's Switch, Xbox, PS5, and PS4. You get a sticker sheet. We love sticker sheets. It also gives you one. This is annoying. One of 6 double-sided collectible. That's the word. Collectible posters, which that's annoying. you can't collect them. Like, it's not collectible if you're like selling it with your game, right? If you've not got another way to buy it, no one's gonna buy 6 of your game. Well, no, some people will definitely do that.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say, but at least you can, right?
Oh,
Tell me what's worse, that or Kid Icarus? Do you know about Kid Icarus?
No.
Okay.
Again, I know about the game, but I don't know.
Yeah, okay, but
it's
what I'm
clearly a
talking
scandal
about,
you're going to talk about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't call it scandal because nobody cared because Kid Icarus was niche, but
we love a scandal.
But okay, so this was early on in the 3DS life cycle where AR, like so few people were trying AR stuff, and so Kid Icarus had a set of AR cards,
right?
A decent size. I don't remember what, like 50, something like that, right? And when you bought your Kid Icarus, you would get like a pack of 6 AR cards, 3 which were set and 3 random, something like that. Anyways, right? Okay. But overall, you could not collect the whole set. Even if you bought 100 Kid Icarus, there was only a very limited pool of cards, and you could get that. And the worst part is, like, they never sold the AR packs. Like, it was only at events, like if you went to a Gamescom thing or whatever, that you could get them. It was wild that they put this, like, oh, look at these, and they were nice cards. Like, oh, and you know, AR, they did like a thing in game, but you can't actually get them all. So the uncollectible card set.
Interesting.
Good job, dude. Okay, Disney Dream. This is how wild this physical release is. So I can think of all these other wild ones.
Yeah, so I don't know the cost. Yeah, so then you get a bunch of in-game stuff. So you get a bunch of the currency, you get a special style of house, you get a Cheshire Cat sweater, and you can get a bunch of raccoon companion skins. Right, fine, whatever. So just a reminder. This game is currently in heavy quotes early access, which you can pay for just now, or you can wait until it comes out of early access and get it free to play. This cozy edition is, I don't know what it is in the US. I suspect $50 because it's 45 quid here. 45 quid for a download code of a free-to-play game, a sticker sheet, and a poster.
Do you think Micah's going to get it? Even though he's going to pay twice for the free game he didn't know about.
It's bizarre. But what I would do think is the interesting thing is they've given a release date for this, and that is the 27th of October. Now, they haven't said this, but I suspect that's the date it comes out of early access. Because why would they be doing this at that specific time, which they said that it would come out of early access this year, right? October 27th.
I mean,
I think that's the date it's coming out of early access.
Like, this is dumb, right? Because early access again, right? Like, yes, I agree with you, but I don't think they're ever going to say that. Like, it's such a weird, dumb thing because the game doesn't feel, well, I mean, when you think of early access, you think of unfinished games, beta, whatever. The game feels like a game right now, so it's all wild. It's all dumb.
It's interesting because I never have I seen a game before that's paid in the early access and free after the early access.
Yeah, that makes it extra dumb, right? Oh my gosh,
wild case. So I guess maybe let's not talk about it as being the date that it comes out of early access because that's meaningless. But let's talk about it being the date that it goes free to play.
But what if though? What if it's not? What if that's later?
I mean, it could be later, but I don't think it would be. Right? I think there is a possibility that they go back on the free to play thing and it never becomes free to play. Right? That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that the fact that they're going, hey, here's this limited edition version of the game called the Cozy Edition, which is different from the Founders Edition that they were previously talking about, which, by the way, the Founders Edition is actually 3 different editions, the Standard Edition, the Deluxe Edition, and the Ultimate Edition. This is the first time they're doing some physical merch, and they're doing the physical cartridges. Not cartridges, the physical cartridge cases without a cartridge. And it's coming out.
Which one gets me the Steelbook?
I'm surprised they haven't done that. And it's coming out near the end of the year that they said it was going to go free to play. So I think I would be very surprised if October 27th is not the day that Dreamlight Valley comes out of early access and goes free to play.
Yeah, like, by all reasonable, rational thinking, like, yes, absolutely agree with you, but marketing, like, I'm telling all these dumb marketing stunts and stories because that's just how it is, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they say, nah, it's still early access, and they just keep holding that off.
It would just be weird. Anyway. The other thing is that it's around the roadmap that they've given us. There's one update coming out this month in September. That's the Bell update, which we've been on for a while. And then there's one more update on that roadmap, which is called Late 2023, which includes new characters, new frontiers, and multiplayer. Late 2023, end of October. 27th of October, that feels like they sync up, right? So the update comes out around that time. The update brings multiplayer. It's the last one that's currently on the roadmap. I think it all just aligns too perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I agree with you, but I just think they're gonna marketers. They like to be slimy and sneaky and to not hold themselves to things.
Sure, that's why they've not said it.
Yeah,
I can't.
Do you know what happened to multiverses?
Did it just die or something?
So, okay, if Multiverses came out, that was the Warner Brothers Smash or whatever.
Was it in early access or was it just a release?
It just came out.
Okay.
And people were playing it. You could buy, there was battle passes, season passes, whatever, cosmetics. Standard. And then, I forget how long. It happened a couple months ago. They said, okay, thanks for playing the beta. We're closing up shop and we'll come back when the game's ready.
What? What?
That's what there was. I could not find any indication of anywhere that they had said that had been a beta. And of course, no one else
Wild.
expected that it was a beta.
Oh my
But
word.
and again, you could put actual money into this to buy cosmetics and stuff. And I'm not talking like, it's not like a demo where you could keep playing it. Like it was an online game. So it's, I don't know if it came back. I haven't followed up, but as far as I know, it's gone right now.
And you had to pay for it, wasn't it? It wasn't free to play either.
I think it was. I think that one was free to play. Yeah. But
you could pay for stuff inside it.
Yes, you could buy
it says returning in early 2024.
Yep.
What? And it came out in July 2022.
Yeah.
And then they closed it in April 2023.
Yeah.
Oh my word. That's wild.
Right?
I mean, people liked the game, didn't they? Like
yes,
it wasn't like it was bad.
No, it was
weird.
It was well loved, and it was different, but people enjoyed it. I didn't hear any issues with it.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. Who knows? But like, I think about that when we're talking about this. Well,
there's no way Disney would do that.
I know they won't, but
I know they would do some weird stuff. I could see them reneging on the free to play. I could see them not doing the still being early access into next year. I could see all these things.
I don't think they'll take it away.
Oh, you can't play the game for a year now.
Yeah, no, I don't see that. But I'm just saying, when you look at something like that happened with multiverses, I would not be surprised if any of that happened with Disney. That they don't do free to play anymore, or they call it early access until 2 years from now or whatever. It's wild. It's all nonsense.
All right. 2 more things that are confirmation that they are releasing this year, but no actual dates. So that's Spirit Tea have said that they are definitely coming this year. They're planning to release in November, which probably means they'll release in December. And Roots of Pacha have said that their console release is still coming this year, and it will release at the same time as the 1.1 update, which will come out on PC at the same time, which is nice. It's nice that they're going, okay, we'll time those things so that console and PC will be at the same state. That's really nice, because it's not uncommon for console games to be an update or 2 behind everything.
Yep, that is nice. I appreciate that. And also looking forward to that because I enjoy Roots of Pacha, and I'll gladly accept the reason to go back into the game.
Awesome. It looks like there's a new romanceable. I don't know what Voda is. Voda a person?
Yes, Voda is a
person. Okay, cool. Yep. Some friendship cutscenes with non-romanceable characters. NPC gifts given by smoke signals. And a bunch of other stuff.
All right.
So if you want to know the details, you can go get into the details.
Let me click on that.
And then there's a little bit of information.
Voda was one of the ones I was interested in, but all the other hot ones, I couldn't actually date.
Well, it's good that they're making them romanceable. And then they've got a little bit of teaser on what's coming after 1.1, which is cool.
Yep. All right. New savannah animal. What's that mean?
We'll find out soon.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll let us know.
Yeah.
Because I've still not played Roots of Pacha.
It's a good game.
The Wandering Village have released an update. It's their birthday update to celebrate and it's not out yet. It's coming out on the 14th of September, sorry. This is to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the release of the game. And this update introduces the ability to name your Onbu, that's the creature that you're building your village on, and choose from one of 2 Onbu skins at the start of the game. So you can have a second design of the Onbu.
I'm really surprised you couldn't name it before. That's kind of crazy.
Well, it's like it's just a creature, right? Yeah. It's Onbu. The name was Onbu.
I guess, but okay. All right, I don't know.
And our last piece of non-Harvest Moon related news is that apparently the Stardew Valley cookbook wasn't official, but it is now official. So there we go.
All right.
We also have the cover. If you want to go look at that, Concerned Ape posted the cover. We'll have that link in the show notes.
I will say, I think a cookbook's cute and fun idea. I wish other games would do that. Where's my Breath of the Wild cookbook? Darn it!
Yeah, that would just be like throw a bunch of apples into a pan and you got an apple pie.
It teaches you the notes for the little tunes that Link whistles.
All right, cool. So, as I mentioned before, there's a bunch of news about Harvest Moon, the Ones of Anthos.
There's a lot of it.
So first of all, a bunch of content creators got like an hour-long look at gameplay.
And what about us? Are we not influencers?
Apparently not, right? I was especially annoyed when one of them was like, this is my first Harvest Moon game. And I'm like, why are you getting this then? What's this about? And...
See, but that's secondly, the thing. They're sending it to the people who can't judge them badly because they don't know. That's what they're scared of.
Well, what they have also done is they've sent a copy of the actual game to Cher, who runs the I can never know how to say the Fogu Ushino Tane whatever. It's the Harvest Moon Story of Seasons website, which has all like kind of strategy stuff and information about, like, if you Google what is this person's favorite
it's their
stuff,
Cerebi.
It's like it's basically
it's the Harvest Moon Cerebi.
Yeah. So she got a copy of the game, and she's been playing through it. She's like 25 hours into the game, so we got a lot of details from her, which is great. And I've noted down a bunch of stuff. Did you go through any of this information beforehand, Kevin?
A little bit. It was a lot. So I'm looking at Fogu right now. I'm trying to judge which one has a better web design, this one or Cerebi, and I think Fogu's winning.
Definitely. But yeah, I want to redesign both their websites. But anyway, I've noted down about 15 bullet points of things that I think are interesting to talk about.
Yep.
So first off, there's a bunch of character customization.
That's cool,
which is good. There's, it like for 2023 standards, it's not special or interesting, but I think it's good to point out that they do have a bunch of skin tones. They do have a bunch of hair colors. I don't think they have hairstyles, which is odd. But
what's the first farming game that's gonna go, because that's always options, right? Option 1 through 30, whatever. When are we gonna get the sliders? Like when are we gonna get the Street Fighter 6 monster,
the cyberpunk?
Yeah. I'm sorry, this is a small tangent, but one of the South Park games, I can't remember which one it was, I think it was the Stick of Truth or whatever, and because they had a custom character or whatever too, and on the character creator there was they had a they had an option whatever called difficulty, and it was a slider, right? And it did nothing in the game other than change your skin tone. It's so good. The day you can see that on Harvest Moon, that'd be great.
Anyway, so yeah, it's good that they're kind of got a decent amount, but yeah, like they probably could be doing better, but it's better than nothing, so that's good.
Yeah. Okay, that is good. Nice, healthy.
As I've mentioned before, it kind of confirmation around the plot. So basically, like, it's built around like a bunch of different communities that were split up by a volcanic eruption in the past. And your job is to basically go around, and there's a bunch of different things you need to do to get to the different areas, but you're basically like building these communities up and breaking down walls and building bridges to get them all to be able to communicate with each other again.
I didn't know that was the premise. That's pretty fun premise.
Yep. So it's very definitely not an open world game because it starts off quite small and you're slowly expanding and slowly expanding. But people love to use the term open world without actually thinking about what that means. What they mean is like the way it looks and the way you control your character. That's what they think of when they think open world. But anyway, it looks like it's got some really nice travel aspects. So obviously you're standard walking, but then there's a whole bunch of different animals you can go on, like ride on. So yeah, there's like horses and bears and camels and dinosaurs for some reason. But then once you have and the different mounts that you go on work well on different areas. So presumably, like your camel works well in the desert areas and stuff like that. But once you've got to each area, there's a little kind of teleporting thing, a little shrine thing that once you interact with, you can teleport to that from anywhere on the map. You just go onto your map and click on it and teleport to that. So that is not, I really like how that's not locked behind progression in other areas. It's literally just you get to this new community, you find their teleporting thing, and you can now teleport to that. I like that.
That's nice. That is, I mean,
probably pretty necessary for such a large game as well.
I was about to say it'd be wild if you didn't, right? Like,
yeah. The Expando Farm is back, so that was in the previous game, which was called One World, Harvest Moon One World.
Yeah.
So that's you can take your farm with you and put it in different places. Which I just thought is a fun concept. So it was definitely the best thing about the previous game. So I'm glad they're bringing that along with it.
Yeah.
The map seems quite a lot bigger than the previous game, which is something. It's either good or bad, depending on your opinion of those things. So this is where it gets interesting. So the map in One World, you could see on the map where you'd found like harvest sprites who give you seeds, and where you'd find animals and crops and stuff like that. It does the same thing in this game, but it's also got a searching thing. So once you find a harvest sprite that gives you a specific seed, you can then go into the map and search for that seed, and you can see everywhere on the map that harvest sprite exists. Same for animals and for fish, and all those items and everything as well. So that's fun. I like that.
Yeah, it's good. Like the Zelda, the sensor thing. Yeah, once you unlock the thing, you can find it again.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what I really like is instead of buying animals, you can tame them in the wild. So you can just happen across a sheep or a chicken or a cow or a dinosaur, and you can tame them in the wild, which I think is really fun because it means that you can get a whole bunch of animals early on if you're willing to do the work. Whereas what I've never liked about farming games is like, it takes you days and days to get enough money to get your first animal.
Real life days, not in-game days.
Yeah. To get your first animal. And then it's like trying to get another one, and it just takes so long. Whereas this way, if you can put in the effort and get stuff really quickly if you want to.
Yep. You know what other game does that? Roots of Pacha. Nice. But no, that is cool to see that as an option. Is it still possible to buy if you don't want to do the work? I don't know.
I don't actually know that. So what Cher said was instead of spending 2,000 G on a lamb, you can tame wild sheep. That makes it sound like you can buy them as well.
See,
because it's she didn't say like instead of buying you have to tame. It was instead of spending 2,000 G you can tame them.
I if that is the case, that both are an option, I think it would be fun to have exclusives, like exclusive wild ones and exclusive buy from the store ones.
That's possible. I'm not sure.
But anyways,
we'll see.
Either way, it's nice to have that as an option, or you don't have to spend money. You can do it. Like you say, you can get it right away, a lot sooner than you normally would.
Yeah. What's next on my list? Oh yes, so like the previous game, you can stay up all night. You don't like fall asleep like in most farming games. But if you do stay up all night, like you're in-game exhausted, which means that everything takes like twice as much effort to do. You can't run, that sort of stuff. So I really like that because it makes it much more realistic, because it's like no one ever just falls asleep at 2 a.m. right? Like that's not a thing that happens. But you get a massive disadvantage if you do that for the next day. You're more tired, even if you do eventually go to sleep. Your day is ruined. I really like how that is. And there have been times where I've just gone like just a little bit longer in one world just to finish something off. And sure, I may have kind of regretted it the next day, but realistically, I still would have done what I did. I really like that.
Yeah, and you can stay up to see the sunrise. That's cool.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Crop mutations are back. So they weren't in one world, but they were in previous games. They are back. So you can mutate your crops. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know the specifics about how it works in this game, but I think in was it Skytree Village, I think, was the last game that had it, and you basically you get new crops based on putting crops next to each other, I think is how it worked in that game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember this, yeah.
But anyway, we'll see. I'm sure we'll get more details of that later on. And the fishing looks way too complicated.
It looks
for me.
We discussed a whole episode on fishing minigame mechanics, and it looks like, what if we take all of them and just put them together?
Yeah, so you have to aim towards the fish you want, and then when you're catching it, you have to drag it in against the direction that it's moving.
Which is a thing that some fishing games do, and you have the bar, but you have all. Oh my god, it's a lot.
It's just I'm not playing a game that I want to be super realistic. It just feels like too much. But I don't know. Maybe it'll actually be fun to play. I'll have to wait and see. But I mean, when I'm looking at that, I'm just going, I do not want to do that. But we'll see. We'll see. And confirmation that there are 10 marriage candidates in the base game, which I have a little thought about this, Kevin. That feels really low to me.
Really?
Well, 10 in total.
Yeah,
right?
that feels standard to me.
But it's a big game. It's a really big game. Everybody's saying this is a big game. And I'm thinking, if there are 10 marriage candidates, is that because there's just not very many people who you can marry out of the total number of people? Or is it just that it's really empty and there's not very many people in the game? It's not... there are 10 marriage... I think there's actually more than 10 marriage candidates in Stardew, but Stardew is a really small map.
It is. You're right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Again, comparison point with Roots of Pacha.
12. There are 12 marriage candidates in Stardew. So there are more marriage candidates in Stardew, which is a really small map compared to this.
Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, you're right. No matter how you cut it, it's not great, because either they're all in your starting town, or they're all spread out and there's not many per village or community or whatever.
Exactly.
I was gonna say Roots of Pacha has, I think, a similar issue in the fact that it's not as big as this one, suppose, as Winds of Anthos, but there's 2 other villages with these whole other casts of characters that you can't romance them, and it feels weird that you can't do that.
Yeah.
So no, you're right. That's a good point.
So Cher said there were about 50 different areas that you have to bring back together.
So
that's one marriage candidate for every 5 areas.
Well,
that's wild.
But they say area, right? So that can't all be
She said communities.
Real? Oh, communities? Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness.
Let me get the exact wording that she said. Where's?
Let me see. Where is it? Oh, gosh.
Okay, no, it does say... Okay, so on the land map is quite large with over 50 sectioned areas. So it does say areas. Some areas are blocked by Harvest Sprite walls until you complete that portion of the story. Other areas require you to repair a bridge to access, while some have environmental hazards, such as eating something cold to withstand hot temp. But it would feel weird to me if it was the vast majority, 40 of them, have no people at all.
Well, I guess then get ready for disappointment because that's probably exactly what's going to happen.
It feels like it's a really big but empty map, and maybe that's not how it feels when you're playing, but that's my little worry of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Anyway, I just 10 seems low. Is all I'm thinking. I think that's lower than most farming games, and it feels bigger than most farming games. So that feels like an odd imbalance. But
yeah.
So that's most of the stuff that I saw and I found interesting. I don't know if there's anything you saw.
Well, I think
missed.
there's a big we're getting DLC. Like, there's already confirmed DLC, right?
Yeah, I'm going to chat about that in a minute. But I was wondering before that if there was anything else that you saw that you thought was worth chatting about.
Nothing. I mean, just like I'm skeptical. Like, it's weird. I can't believe a Harvest Moon, like this kind of Harvest Moon game might be good. I don't believe it until it happens. Like, it's like they've been just banking off the name for so long. Are they actually making a game here that's competent? That's wild to me.
But we've been wanting this. We've been asking this the entire time we've been running this podcast. 4.5 years. We've been asking, please make a good Harvest Moon game. And in one world, I saw a lot of things that were really promising and a lot of things that were really weird and bad. And I was like, this could be a really good game. And it feels like they've taken that and they've taken the good things and it feels like they've maybe made it good.
You know what this is? This is the people who played the original Harvest, the actual like Story of Seasons games back on the GameCube, are now old enough that they've been hired by Natsume, and they said, "No, we're going to save this name. It's going to be a real game now."
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, but I totally understand people going, weird. I don't trust it. And that's why me and Micah will be doing an episode on this. It won't be like out straight away. We'll take I feel like it's going to be about a month, but we want to take our time to make sure that we know what we're doing. But I totally understand that people would want to wait to hear actual feelings.
I will probably be that. And it's so, not even without the name thing of the Harvest Moon brand and all the baggage that's carried, like, it sounds like an ambitious game. Like,
yeah,
it's wild. It's wild. The different mounts in different areas. That's such a
totally.
detail.
If there was if this was a random unknown developer talking about this game, we'd be like, this sounds too ambitious, right? Yep. It feels like there's too much in this game, and that is not even taken by the fact that they haven't made a good game yet.
Yep.
So I don't know, but like, based on like this is Cher actually playing the game, right? And we're getting actual clips and actual information, and I'm still not seeing anything that makes me go, this looks horrific, or this looks like this will be really bad, or I'm really worried about this massive flaw. Like, there is my point about the lack of marriage candidates, but
but that's,
other than that, that's a really small thing. Like, there's still going to be like 10 marriage candidates, still a decent amount in general. It's just my worry about whether it might feel in like an empty world, but we'll see.
It's wild. And look at it. This game looks too good to be a Harvest Moon game. I like it.
Well, don't worry. Our episode will definitely be out enough time for people to say that they want the game for Christmas. So you'll all be happy in that way. All right, so last thing about this is they have detailed the DLC for the game, and oh boy, I have some thoughts. Right, so so there's a bunch of packs, 4 different packs, I think. Let me just get my list up so I get it all right. There are 4 packs of DLC. So the first one is the Animal Avalanche pack, and this unlocks extra wild animals wandering around the world. It costs $2.99, and it releases the day the game releases. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I mean, from what I can see, they're more or less just going to be skins of other animals. There's a panda instead of a bear, unicorn instead of a horse, whatever. I can get that.
Yeah, it's just a cosmetic one. It's a bit weird, but whatever, that's fine. I don't complain about cosmetic stuff being paid. It's fine. do what you want. The next one is Visitors from Afar. So this includes 2 extra marriage candidates. There's an extra story chapter about a trading company establishing a business in Anthos, and the CEO and her assistant will both be romanceable. This costs $12.99.
That sounds like a lot.
Yep, and it releases October 17th. Now, don't worry. Let's just keep going until we have
I'm trying
too
to
many
find it.
discussions
Are they
about this.
worth it? Are they hot? Let me see. I need to know.
I don't think we have the information about them yet.
Darn it.
The next one is the tool upgrades and new interior designs. The names are getting less catchy. Upgrade your tools to the ultimate level beyond what's available in game. Also includes 3 more interior designs for the farmhouse. You'll be crafting sprinklers to automatically water your crops. So that's just saying the sprinklers do exist in the game, so an upgraded watering can wouldn't be useful, but the other upgrades might be useful. So 2 things about this. One, the interior design, fine, whatever. That's again more cosmetic, whatever. I don't care about that. I'm fine with that. That, people pay for cosmetics, that's fine. I don't know how I feel. Well, I do know how I feel actually. I'm not a huge fan of gating tool upgrades behind a DLC. That feels bad.
I mean, how good are the upgrades versus the ones in the base game?
We don't know yet.
Right. Well, right. I know we don't know. I'm just like, that's the question, right? Like,
I feel either way I don't like it, right?
Well,
it's like,
yes, but you really like automation. I do. I probably live without it.
I'm not a huge fan of that. That feels a little bit scammy to me. Like,
it does. You're right.
Story stuff is fine.
Yeah, you're right.
Right, story stuff I understand, and like cosmetic stuff I'm fine with, but like upgrading your tools feels a little
you're
scammy.
Right. In any other game, it'd be a free update. Yeah, you're right.
That pack is $2.99 and is releasing on the 7th of November. And the final one is New Crops Fish Recipes Pack, which will unlock extra crops, fish, and recipes. So 4 crops, 8 flowers, 6 fish, and 15 cooking recipes. And that is $2.99 and releases on the 28th of November.
See, this is weird because, like, you're right. Gaining this doesn't feel great. But what if they just had all this together in one big update and for like $15? I don't think we'd be complaining.
So what they are doing is they are doing that. So
yeah, we go.
If you bought them all individually, that would be $22. But they are releasing a pack which will give you all 4 for £15.
Okay, well.
So they are doing that. But,
there you go.
And so I'll be honest, if I enjoy the game, I will probably do that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm willing to pay for more story if the story's good. And I'm fine with people buying cosmetics. It's just that tools one that's making me go, I don't like that.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like this is a $60 game and you're charging me $2.99 to buy an upgrade to my tools. That's weird, right?
It is, right? Like, yeah, okay, fine.
Anyway, we'll see. If the game's good, I'll buy it. If the game's not,
I was about to say, is it weird that I'm willing to forgive the scamminess if the game is actually good?
It's not weird. You could argue whether it's good or bad, but it's not weird.
I don't trust this game, and I don't like it.
The Wild Animals pack includes unicorns.
Yeah, it does. Sasquatch too.
Right, fine. I think that's everything. There's a bunch of Anthos stuff. If you've got any questions, listeners, about this, let us know. If you have any thoughts about this, let us know, because I feel like we're all a bit confused about this game. We can be confused together. So
you know what else we could be confused about?
We're going to talk about the interesting game, which is the original Harvest Moon.
The grandpappy of this everything we're doing, this genre, this show, it all goes back to this, folks.
So I'm going to start off and say, don't play this game.
Well, I mean,
unless you care,
yes.
unless you care so much about seeing where it's come from, don't play this game. You won't have the patience for it.
Like, yeah, I don't think there was any doubt about that, right? Like, this.
I think there was. Because some games age really well, and some games let you hold a maximum of 2 tools at a time. Sorry, sorry, not 2 tools, 2 items.
Yeah, there you go.
This is a wild game. Okay, so we're not gonna go into like a deep, detailed dive of this game, right? We're not gonna spend the next hour talking about this game. I really hope we don't spend the next hour talking about this game.
Well, I'm here, so you know.
I just thought it would be interesting for us to play around a bit and talk about how we felt about it.
Okay, first of all, how far did you make it?
Not very far at all, because this is not a fun game to play.
Did you make it past the season?
I did not. Did you?
Okay, for reference, a season is like an actual like 30 in-game days for people, but the days are also like the half a minute long. They go by so fast.
So I just really struggled to keep playing it, right? And I spent ages in the very first bit. So you start out the game and they're like, oh, here's a farm and I'll take you to the town and show you the town. And then they go, talk to everyone. And you're like, okay, I'll go talk to everyone. And then you go back to them and like, you've not talked to everyone. And I'm like, where are the people that I've missed? Oh my word. So I end up Googling to figure out where the hidden people are. And it's like, that's where they are. And then you go find them and then you talk to them. And then my time with this game, Kevin, was constantly just Googling what I don't understand. Like, you're like, oh, where are my tools? Which one is the shed? Because they're like, oh, your tools are in the shed. I'm like, well, where's the shed? Because you have 4 different buildings and all of them look the same. And it's like, which shop is which? I cannot remember. And then you're like, okay, well, I've picked up my tools. Oh wait, I can only have 2 tools at once. Okay, fine, whatever. And then you go and like chop down a tree, and then it's like, where's my wood? I don't know where my wood is. Right? The wood just magically goes to the wood pile. You have to go and find the wood pile. Like, I just spent the entire time just being confused about this game.
So I want to put absolutely right. Like, I mean, this is, what year did this come out? SNES. I don't know.
90 something.
90 something.
92?
Okay, 90s. Okay. I think.
96.
Like, you're like, yes, this game is very, I think you can tell, limited by the hardware, I'm going to guess, because
some of it is that, and some of it is just, I think some of it is just like bad game design. There are games released around this time that had less limitations than this on the same platform. Like I don't think you can blame that entirely.
All right, look, I haven't played enough SNES games. So maybe I'm missing context. That's what I'm trying to think of. Is there a comparison point? Is there a game you can point at, like, this came out in the same year on the SNES and look how good it did everything else? Like, what, we had some Final Fantasy games?
Well, so like, okay, so let's take A Link to the Past, Zelda.
Okay.
That released 5 years earlier.
Okay.
On the same console.
Okay. A Link to...
And like, imagine having only 2 items that you could have in that.
Yes. Game. Okay, no, you're right. Some, like, the item thing is probably the worst, and that
absolutely,
you're right. Absolutely addressed by other games of its contemporaries. Yeah. You're right. Like, Final Fantasy exists. Yes. Like, why don't you have an inventory menu? It's wild. That's probably the biggest flaw. I'll say that it definitely was bad game design. But I want to point out, so in regards to your confusion, because yes, that's one of the big issues. Like, nothing is properly explained. Mm-hmm. But there's an asterisk, because when I booted this game up, there's 3 options on the menu: start new game, or whatever, new game, continue, and how to play. Did you watch the how to play?
Yes, but it was so bad, right? Because it's just like watching somebody else play the game. It's not truly explaining it, right?
It's not a tutorial, like, here's how to do everything. It's they took a recording.
You know what I found better?
What?
Was actually Googling the manual that came with the game originally.
Ooh.
The manual is good.
Wait, are the manuals not included on these SNES games, the virtual console?
I couldn't figure out how to do it. I felt like they were, but I could never figure out how to do it. So I just Googled it. It doesn't matter, right?
Okay.
Like, it's not easy to get. We don't need to talk about that, right? The manual. Did you look at the manual?
That's fine. Okay, yes. You're right, but no, that's a good one. Yes, because this is the 90s. Yes, the manual had good information back then.
But this is the thing, right? We're going, oh yeah, sure, right. Well, you just look at the manual. I'm like, sure, but that's not how people think anymore, right? You can't expect people to just do, and I'm not saying, right, okay. Right. Before we get complaints, yes, I am complaining about a game that came out nearly 30 years ago based on my 2023 expectations, right?
Yes.
But all of this is my point. I'm backing up my point of don't play this game. That's my point, right?
Okay,
I think it's interesting to look at, and I have spent maybe 15 hours playing this game very badly, and I'm so glad that there are newer games. I mean, it's wild to me how people played this game so much that they made a second game.
Well,
right? I don't know how anybody found this fun at the time.
This is all, in my opinion, is about context, right? Because I was asking again, like, what is the comparison point? Because I mean, yes, there are certain things like item inventory stuff that, yes, you can absolutely look at. But as a whole, this was the first farming game, right? Like, that I know of. Right?
Sure. The first proper farming game, sure.
Yes,
but we still need to make sure not to compare it to stuff that came out 10 years earlier, right? Most other games that came out in the SNES were better than this in general. Right?
I mean, yes, but the point I'm trying to get at is it was accomplishing things no other game was. Maybe not like mechanically or gameplay wise per se, but like there was romance. This game had romance options back then. You had your farm with cycles and stuff like that. There was no other game that was I'm actually shocked by how many staples were already in this game.
Yeah,
poorly done, poorly executed, but the ideas are all there. Like,
I will accept that.
All the rhythms and core concepts of what make a farming game enjoyable are all there, and so I'm not surprised that people really like this, because when I think of I scroll down the list of the stuff available on the SNES, like. You're looking at stuff that was well polished and well done, but very different, right? It was stuff like Mario or fighting games or whatever, stuff that had a very start end point sort of thing. Like, here's the start of the level, there's the end of the level, and so very linear. That's the word I'm thinking of here. So. Like, I mean, of course, like I totally agree that nobody's going to enjoy this because we're in the year 2023 and the most basic things are just so much better on anything else, on any other modern game.
The worst 2023 farming game. They're better. That would be better than this. My point is, like, it's interesting as a history
wait till
thing.
Harvest Twins of Anthos comes out, and then we'll revisit this stuff.
I think you're totally fair, though. Like, there is so much in this game that is like concepts that are still a thing now.
Yes.
Right? Like, you can't have a farming game without them. But everything was done just slightly worse than you want it to be.
Absolutely, right? And this is, even to this day, farming games are still a game that very much improve with each iteration.
Yeah.
Like, games are still getting better, building off even just Stardew Valley, a pretty modern one, right?
Yeah.
Like, and even in their own series, like, I mean, we spent how much time talking about Winds of Anthos? Like, holy mackerel! Like, look how much it's progressed from the other,
Yeah.
not Story of Season Harvest Moon games.
Yeah.
So like, I am a person, like, I didn't play this game originally, but I am a person who very much thinks about context of these sorts of things, and I always give big props to games that were the first of their kind or started a franchise or series or whatever, right? Like, look at Pokemon,
I
the
was going to
original
make that
Pokemon games.
comparison. I was going to
Yeah.
make that comparison, but I think that yeah, Pokemon. I think there's a lot about those original games which is terrible, right?
Oh my
But
gosh.
I think that's an interesting comparison because it came out the same year, the first version of Pokemon.
Really? As Harvest
And
Moon? Really?
yeah,
Huh.
1996. First version came out in
Wow.
1996. And I think there are many things about Pokemon that are better than this, right? And
No,
they both brought
you're
up
right.
they both came out in the same year with a brand new concept that no one had
Well,
ever done before,
it's
and
not.
started a phenomenon that is still going now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that although Pokemon is definitely flawed and it's not
Yes.
necessarily fun to play anymore,
Mm-hmm.
I think they did it better.
Well, I'm in a lot of ways you're right, but I think Harvest Moon is more of a new concept than
You think?
Pokemon was at that time, right?
What had done Pokemon before Pokemon?
Well, the thing is, okay, the monster collecting, no, but what you do actually do gameplay wise in Pokemon is battle stuff, and that had been well established by that point. Final Fantasy turn-based battles, inventory stuff, that all existed plenty. Like,
I mean, the inventory stuff is the stuff that this game does worse. I think
yeah,
this is the
no,
interest. So this is the interesting thing. What this game does badly is things that other games had done better, and that's what I think is really interesting. So inventory
yeah,
management is terrible. Time management is terrible. Do you know what the time is in game? No, of course you don't know what the time is in game. There is
that is wild. I think you can actually get a clock, but it's wild that you have to get it. It's wild.
There's no menu. There's no actual menu in game. There's no like there's so much information you just don't get. You know, all
Those are
these
super
things were
valid
done
points.
better
You're
in
right.
other games, and
You're right.
ironically, the things that they did new are the better bits that they did.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Like, you're right. It, like, I didn't realize it came out the same year as Pokemon that doesn't have a menu of any kind. That is wild.
Wild.
That's nuts. Oh no. Okay, you're right. When you put it like that, yeah. But yeah, there was a lot more they could have learned from other games for sure. Inventory menus, basic things like that. But
which they obviously did learn in future games, and I would love. I don't know if we have any information. Like, there's a lot of information we have about the development of the first Pokemon games and how close it was to financial ruin and collapse, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder if there was a similar thing here with a lot of games, the first in a franchise or the first in a. There's a lot of cases where you have that where they're just teetering on the edge of never happening.
Honestly, this feels like even a level below. It feels like this was somebody's garage project.
I think I suspect what they did was spend so much time building up the unique aspects of the game and then going, oh no, we need to release this because we need money. And so they went, well, it's good enough. We don't need those other aspects of the game. Right?
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. Like, that sounds super plausible because I feel like a lot of game development back then was kind of like that. Where
that's the thing, because game development now is so much easier because there are so many developed tools
in
that
quotes,
I can go onto the internet and use. Well, sure, right, okay. Making a game in this style is so much easier because you have so many tools. You have frameworks and tools that people have been developing
there's
over
reference
decades.
Points. Yeah, absolutely.
These games were built in assembly code, right? And so, they weren't. You just didn't have that. You had to build everything yourself.
Yep.
Whereas if you're building a game just now, you can just go copy paste that library, and hey, I've got dialogue now, right? I then have to tune it, and I do all these things, but that exists, and it's like inventory management. include that library. Now I've got inventory management. And the good thing about that is it allows you to focus on the unique aspects of your game rather than just trying to reinvent the wheel. And Harvest Moon took that to the core, and they didn't reinvent the wheel at all.
They didn't invent it at all. No wheels in this game.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, no, you're super right. And this is fascinating to think about. You're right. I'd love to learn more about the development to answer a lot of these questions, and probably it would shed a lot of light on the game itself, like how we ended up this way. But yes, like I'm with you. Like, yeah, I can't recommend this to anyone to actually play it, because it's just wild, the stuff that is missing. Like I said, no wheels. But at the same time, like I said, it blows my mind how Harvest Moon it was at the beginning. Like, the identity is there, very very primitive fashion at times.
The number of things, like the hot springs was in the first game.
Yes.
Why? That is wild to me that they included that in. That was it all the way back in 1996. They had the hot springs. I totally expected that would have been a newer thing.
Yes, right. There's gifts. There's romanceable characters, different tastes, kind of.
The festivals.
They're there. It's, oh my gosh, it's
fishing is in it.
Fishing is, I didn't. I don't think I reached it yet, but
there's not mining, but there is a cave that you can find things in, which is it feels like it's the start of mining.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And like the town is a pretty standard town. I mean, it's not a very visually distinct and interesting town.
Nope.
But it has everything that you expect a farming game to have.
The crops, the livestock,
good luck.
The bar's there.
Good luck figuring out which one is which, but.
I can't. Oh my gosh! There were two signs. I kept forgetting that was a cow. I can't remember what I kept thinking it was. But I think it was the beer. I think I kept getting the beer and the cow signs confused.
Yeah. Definitely. You definitely. I think I will say, if you do want to play this game, I think the only reason to play this game is either because you have so much nostalgia for it, which I don't think very many people have, because as we've discussed before, I think the vast majority of people who played farming games when they were young, when they were, a child or whatever, or a young adult, it was A Wonderful Life. That was their first one.
Yep.
But which, by the way, if you want to play if you want to go play that game, the remake is so much better than this. Definitely go do that. But
absolutely.
That side,
I have been playing it at the same time, actually, and so it's quite the comparison to see the two.
Yeah, because when was that? Was that 2002? Was it
2 or 3, something like that? Yeah.
So it's less than a decade between these two games.
Again, that jump we were talking about, right? Between Mario 64 and
yeah. Oh yeah. Good point.
And Sunshine's the same
Very
thing here.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. What was my point? Oh yeah. So the only reason, other than the nostalgia, if you really have the nostalgia for this game, if the only other reason to play this is as a history lesson, to be like, this is what it was. If you're going to do it, please play with the manual in front of you. Yep. Just do it, right? Because that is how they would have played back then.
Yep, that was intended.
The manual came with the game, and you would have used it. That's how people would have played the game. So please don't be like, oh, it's no.
Don't you dare Google. No game packs existed back then.
That's not what I'm saying.
Don't you dare.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't do nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
Sit there with the manual, because it is actually a very good manual. Yeah. And it's like so the big thing is, like, as I say, the town design is terrible, but you have a map and it tells you everything on the map in the manual. Right?
That's nice.
Like, it's just it's like, oh, which of these things is the one I want to go to? Oh, I want to go to the pub, right? That's that one. Let me go to it, right? Mm-hmm. So much better.
Yeah. I will say, I think someone who, I don't actually know this, but it sure feels like it. I bet concerned Nate played this game at some point in his life, because when I heard Stardew is inspired by Harvest Moon, like, I just said, okay, sure, there's the farming and all that stuff. But when I look at this game, it's like, oh, this is what he was inspired by. Yeah.
That's the interesting thing. Stardew is basically the modern version of this game.
It really is. Like, even just visually, aesthetically, you can
Yep.
see the line, how he looked that game, and you turn your head, okay, that's how we got to Stardew.
Yep.
It is absolutely fascinating in that sense, like seeing
Yep.
where all of this came from.
And I can totally understand playing this game and being like, this would be great as a modern game, and looking at all the other ones and going, they're just not quite the same.
Yep.
And that's why we would end up in that situation of going, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make this game nice and good to play and fun, which is the thing it's missing. You know?
Yeah.
So,
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not
totally.
wrong.
It's it was certainly has been very interesting to play. But I don't know about you. I'm not opening that game again.
Oh yeah, no, I like stopped like Monday. I think I played like 2 or 3 days.
I was just saying, we only agreed a week ago to do this.
I was trying to get through a season. I got pretty far. I hit like day 20, something like that. But there's other stuff to play. Story of Seasons, the remakes right there, The Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
But
man.
Yeah, for anyone, it's weird. I've never recommended a game for purely like academic or curiosity reason, but that's what this is. You can and as I said, the pace is actually like lightning fast. The fastest farming game I think I've ever seen.
That's true.
A day is done in like less than 5 minutes. It's nuts.
Yeah, good luck trying to do anything.
yeah, you got to pick one thing, and that's all you get for that one day. One interesting thing is, because I did Google, because I was curious how like the day-night system worked, because one thing I noticed, you don't actually like honk out anytime. Night, when it hits night, which I think is like 6 p.m. in game or whatever, it just stops. You have the rest, you can do whatever you want forever. Which is an interesting mechanic.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
So you can actually just save all your watering and stuff for the end of the day, if you want to do other stuff. But anyways, the point I was trying to make it is quick to spend 20 minutes in this game and say, okay, that's what it is. That's really cool to see, and just never ever touch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
that's the reason. That's the reason to play it. Yeah. It's the only reason.
I don't regret spending the time, because it is, I feel enlightened for sure. And again, huge problems, but the Harvest Moon charm is there, primitive in some spots, but it is clearly Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's great. I like I said, I like context for things in general, right? And this provides so much context for like Stardew and just all these other farming game things. It's great. I really feel satisfied in that sense.
Why is the mayor's house bigger than all of the other buildings put together?
What are you talking about? I mean, you can ask that in this day in 2023 in certain places.
It's absolutely massive.
It's pretty big. It's got like 4 or 5 rooms, which is like the rest of the town combined.
It has wings of it. You walk up and it's a courtyard you're walking into to get into.
It is wild.
And the funny thing is, it's like right next to the church. The church could fit inside this house.
It really could. One thing about the church, like, it's wild to me. It's the first time a game has ever asked me, "Do you believe in God?" It's like, whoa, we're getting in there, huh, Harvest Moon? All right,
getting deep here. Yeah, there wasn't an option to start a discussion on what is God. That's the question. Anyway,
yeah.
Anything else you want to cover about this game?
No, I didn't get a cow. I will say that. Like, even back then, that trope was there where you got to build up to get an animal.
Well, they also, interestingly, even if you have the money, they sometimes won't sell you the cow if you're not ready for it.
Yeah, I actually had enough money to buy a chicken, and I wanted to, but they said I didn't have enough grass growing for my chicken.
Yeah,
it's like, it's really interesting. I guess and they won't sell to you on a rainy day either. It's like, no, today's not a good day to have moved animals or whatever. Like, okay, I guess you guys care about your livestock. That's cool.
It's interesting. I mean, I don't think it adds fun to the game personally.
No,
I think
of course not.
This is definitely one of the balance of like realistic versus fun. I don't think that's a fun aspect, but it's an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Like, again, considering you only have a 2-item inventory. Like I'm just rolling along with anything they give me at that point.
Oh my word! I like that is the thing that drives me the most insane about this game. It's like, you got to go and get your watering can and water them, and then you have to go get your different. It's like, oh my word, I can't even with this.
The one thing that drives me insane, that drives me bonkers. So, surprisingly, when you get a bag of seeds, it's actually 9 seeds, and you spread it in 3x3 square, right? You would whatever. What kills me is that when the plants start growing, you can't reach the middle one. You can't water the middle one until you pluck the other ones. Oh, it hurts. Okay. That's Harvest Moon, ladies and gentlemen.
That is Harvest Moon, the original on SNES.
The OG. Hats off to you for kickstarting our careers here, among many, many other things.
What would we be without you? But I'm so glad I never
have to play you again.
It's very interesting.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, Kevin, for joining me.
Thank you, Al, for having me.
Where can people find you on the internet?
People can find me at Koopa Prez on my personal account. If you want to see retweets and other things. Hey, I actually did the PR for the last week's episode with the Ray Chase interview on there. So there you go. There's something.
Yeah.
You can
a good fun episode. I enjoyed I hadn't edited the interview before we recorded last week's, but it was good to listen to the interview. If you haven't listened to that yet, go back and listen to it.
I actually might go back and listen. I don't remember. It was months ago when we recorded that. So
he seems like a really good guy, and
Ray's fantastic.
It was really interesting interview.
Yeah, go back and if you haven't checked out last week's episode, go back and listen. Ray's a fantastic fella. You can find me at Spriter Squared if you want to see art. I've actually been dabbling in non-sprite art. I haven't posted much of it, but you can see art stuff there. You can also find me at Rainbow Mario Pod. That's the correct handle. Rainbow Mario Pod, which is the Twitter account for Rainbow Road Radio, the Mario podcast I do with our mutual friend Alex. As discussed earlier, we've done too many episodes in a row. Sunshine was last week, and actually, I just saw he's just dropped it.
Literally just this, within the last hour as we're recording, it's coming.
Yeah, during recording, the episode dropped of our discussion of the Super Mario Wonder Direct. Plenty of good stuff to talk about in there, of course.
Hopefully, that episode doesn't leak something about this podcast.
I've been thinking about it. It's weird that I'm leaking things that are recorded, didn't record, but they release in different order. It's wild. Anyways, so actually, this time I didn't link, but I hinted. I didn't say the game this time, but I just said I booted up the SNES for the first time.
It's all good. It's not a problem.
No, I mean,
the Ray Chase. It was just funny how the episode came out 12 hours before the podcast was meant to come out, and I was listening to it, and you were like, "Oh yeah, we interviewed Ray Chase," and I'm like, "Whoa, okay, right. Well, you know what? I'll just release the episode now." So I released a few hours early.
Now, good times. But yeah. So yeah, again, you can find me at Koopa Press for my personal, at Sprite Squared for art, or at Rainbow Mario Pod for the Mario podcast. Okay, Al, where do people find you?
Oh, sorry, I was yawning while.
That's fine. That's fine.
I thought I would get the yawn finished before you.
No. I should also add. Well, you're going to hear in the episode, but I'm. We just started pushing the PR, the marketing for Rainbow Road, but we're actually gonna. Alex is going on a vacation for a month, so it's the downtime, but that's okay. We're going to come back. It's going to be Rainbow Road Shippuden. The 2.0 or 1.0 update. Some would call this the early access, season 0. Who knows?
No, some would not.
Well, what do you think, Disney? Is this the early access?
Cool. You can find me on various social media, including mastodon.scott as the Scottbot. Sorry, I hiccuped during the first time saying that. You can follow the podcast at THS Pod on Tumblr and on whatever we call that other social media. You can find links to everything to do with the podcast on our website, harvestseason.club, including a link to our Patreon, patreon.com/thspod, where you can support the podcast, get access to additional episodes, including one we just released about some movie recommendations that we were making to each other.
We've done wild episodes lately, and that one was wild even by those standards.
It was good fun.
I also like that we last week we said we don't know when the next one would be, and then like 5 minutes later we said, "Oh, you want to record on the let's do it."
We were not lying. We did not know when it would be.
Nope.
You get 2 extra episodes of those a month, roughly. I mean, on average, it's been the case, but I think we went like 3 months without getting one, and then we got 8 weeks in a row of getting one. So, but on average, you get 2 a month of that, and also access to the Slack, which has a whole bunch of weird people who, for some reason, give me money.
Most of them are the hosts, so you know how weird they are.
I don't think it's most of them.
Well, no, okay.
There are 21 people in the
portion.
Slack.
A significant portion of the, shall we say, the most people who chat there the most
active
are hosts.
People.
Active people. Thank you. That's the word. Yes.
So yeah, come chat to us. Tell us what you are looking forward to in the end of the year of madness, as we have so many games coming out, especially September. What should we give the name? September something September.
I don't know. It's Mineko. That's all that matters. Mineko is all that matters. September.
I'm opening up a thesaurus.
September.
No,
I know. I'm just thinking. I'm trying to roll off that.
I want a word that begins with S. I'm not.
The Harvest September.
Savage September.
Sure.
Or Screwball September.
Oh, Screwball every week here. What are you talking about?
Silly September.
I still stand by that.
I'm going with silly September because I've already said somewhere that September's looking silly. How did I not realize I did that already? Let's go for it.
You go.
September 2023 is silly September because there are too many games releasing. Let us know which game you're going to play from silly September.
Do let us know.
Please tell us why it's not Mineko if it's not.
And you're wrong. But do let us know. You know, we always ask for feedback and stuff. I don't think we get enough. I like feedback. I want to see people's thoughts, the questions here get us wrong. So I really push you, dear listeners, to give some thoughts on any of those social medias so we can respond to them. It's fun to interact with people outside the host, you know. So do that. Get your name said on air live.
Yeah. All right. I think that's everything. Thank you, Kevin, for joining me.
Thank you, Al, for having me.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. It's been a pleasure. And until next time, have a good harvest. The Harvest Season is created by Al McKinley, with support from our patrons, including our pro farmers, Kevin, Stuart, and Elisa. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. I feel like in the future we should just take Ray saying it and just put it in for every episode.
He did. I mean, he did the sexy Wesley voice. You know, I don't blame you.